Islamophobia from the state that experienced, the city that experienced 9/11. Having said that, however, one of the greatest values that Zohran has is that he is authentic and unflinching. John Podhoras, Mamdani will not say Israel has a right to exist, a Jewish state, but wants to go to synagogues. Don't stain 1 square inch of a shul with your rancid presence, Zohran. Dude, suck my cock, okay? Anyway, it doesn't matter, okay? Do you think Iran has a right to exist as a Muslim state? No, it doesn't, and it's not. If you think Iran is an ethno-state, you're delusional. And actually, as a major point of contention, the Mullah regime is a major point of contention. Who the would turn around and say, yeah, no, Iran should be the Islamic fucking republic? No one thinks this. Iranians don't agree with this. Who the agrees with that statement? It's also not an ethno-state to begin with. What is going on? Americans are so stupid that they will look at Zohran saying, hey, I want to make your life better by making rent low and making housing affordable and make nice with everyone. And we'll say, sounds good, but it's communism. So I'm voting for mega rapist Hitler bin Laden. Yeah. Oh my God. Instantly does not believe Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state and will not commit to visiting. Dude, this is why you can't even give an inch. You can't even give an inch. You can't even give an inch. Whatever your opinion is, you should stand by it, okay? You should stand by your position and rely on the actual clarity, the moral clarity that average people have. It's so stupid. No, of course. The idea that like Israel has a right to exist, like no state has a right to exist. People have a right to exist. States don't have a right to exist. Okay. As a Jewish New Yorker, I'm deeply disappointed in Zohran's inability to stand up for Palestine during this mayoral debate. He never once mentioned that he says Israel has a right to exist. I expected better from a DSA candidate. Thumbs down. Zohran should have been like, why would I go to Israel? Look at what they did to Rashida Tlaib. I can't believe that they turned around. Isn't Japan an ethno-state? Asking genuinely. Yes. And that's a major self-defeat, a major point of self-defeat for Japan to begin with. Yeah, no shit. Ethno-states inevitably end up destroying themselves. Look at the Japanese birth rates. Yeah, that's a major problem. Japan is slowly dying as a direct consequence of its ethno-state measures, unironically. Trying to explain ethno-state to a white man, so imagine Japan. Also, there's a lot of xenophobia and racism in Japan, but as far as de facto or de jure racist racial practices, it does not resemble what the fuck is going on in Israel, okay? There's no like direct law in the book. Like there's still a ton of migrants that are abused and exploited in Japan. There are so many issues, but it's not Japan had its own historic ethnic cleansing campaign against the Ainu people. Okay. They already did that, except they're not doing it currently. Just like America had its own exterminationist policies of the indigenous population, the Native Americans, is not happening currently. There's still major issues in terms of the contemporary existence of indigenous populations on U.S. soil or Canada or Australia. The point is, it's not currently happening in real time in front of our eyes with our tax dollars. None of this is a defense of historic atrocities. Okay? If I was around back then, I would try to do my very best to stop that too. And I'm here right now trying to stop the modern version of that. Do you understand? So anyone that tries to bring that shit up is so stupid. Anyway, yeah, I said, does Israel have a right to exist as a Jewish state, ethno-state? Is an insane question to ask at the New York mayoral primary. Lamar, what the fuck is this gotcha? Of course it doesn't have a right to exist as an ethno-state. No state has a right to exist to begin with. I think Zohran, understandably being Muslim, okay, and visibly Muslim and brown, is causing him to be extra careful in order to avoid the unlimited Islamophobia from the state that experienced, the city that experienced 9/11. Having said that, however, one of the greatest values that Zohran has is that he is authentic and unflinching. I'm disappointed in your lack of support for a Jewish ethno-state committing an unlimited baby holocaust. Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Like, I'm not expecting him to get up there and be like, we must dismantle the Zionist entity piece by piece, okay? It's not what I'm expecting. But, like, it's, I mean, if they're gonna, you're a fiery guy. You attack Andrew Cuomo. You can attack the media for framing the question in that way as well. You could just be like, I think this is a ridiculous way to ask, a ridiculous question to ask when we have American congresspersons who are Muslim, who are not allowed entry into their ancestral homelands by the Israeli state, but like, that is currently committing an ethnic cleansing campaign. He said he can say it in the debate too. That would actually do LeBron numbers if he were to say that at the debate, because the reality of the matter is New York Jews are also aware of what Israel is doing, and they're not as invested in Israel as like the American media class and the American politician class is, because they're not paid by AIPAC, especially now at a time when the attitude is swung so dramatically in the direction of truth. I see no reason to back away from this. 19 months of unlimited child holocaust backed by the American state. It's okay to be like, this is unacceptable. The only thing that I foresee, and people don't care, like, is wishy-washy answer is not going to win him any favors anyway. Because look, you know, the freaks are out. The Horitzes of the world are out. You need to correct that indigenous people in America are still being did. You need to correct that indigenous people in America are still being. Okay, I'm sorry. Indigenous people in America are still being. It's just like Gaza. There are bombs on reservations. You're right. There is systematic discrimination towards the indigenous population. Not only is there systematic discrimination towards the indigenous population still to this day, okay, but beyond that, they are still hyper focused on by federal authorities, by law enforcement, underserved. None of this is, admitting that or recognizing that is not incorrect. My point is, it does not resemble the initial settler colonial ethnic cleansing campaigns. Okay. Whereas a close comparison to the initial settler colonial ethnic cleansing campaigns is occurring right now. Jesus Christ. What the indigenous population went through in the indigenous genocide that the American settler colonialists engaged in is a one-to-one comparison, a modernized version with what Israel is doing right now in the fucking Gaza Strip. That is not what's going on currently, because the genocide has been conducted already in the United States of America. Oh my God. Can you read my message, boss? An outsider POV. I'm tired of Israel killing civilians. I'm really tired, boss. I'm from Barcelona. I have a big impetus on me and cannot help me. I'm a grown-up man, and this makes me want to cry. Fuck it. What the goal is I don't know what the fuck that person saying. What the goal is right now is to try and stop the Israeli ethno-state from finalizing its ethnic cleansing campaign so that they can, 50 years down the line, do land acknowledgements in the shameless ways in which Americans do as they whitewash and completely avoid talking about its disgusting history with the indigenous genocide that took place, that unfolded. This does not mean that there isn't still systematic discrimination towards Native Americans. Who in his crew is failing to prep him for these talking points? He shouldn't be caught off guard by these questions this late in the game. You said this weeks ago as well. I mean, I think it's because he's afraid as a Muslim dude. Loyalty pledges to a foreign state that's doing genocide is a requirement for public office, indictment of the electoral process in this country. Yeah. More coming out. Deborah Lee, the jihadist candidate for New York City mayor, Zohran Mamdani, is just straight up refused to agree that Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. Yeah, I think these people are getting a little too fucking horny. I think they're firing off a little too fast. They don't realize that as long as there are people like myself and hopefully many others who go, hold on, what do you mean Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state? Wait a minute, that doesn't sound too right to me. That sounds like you're advocating for a Jewish ethno-state, as a matter of fact. It's weird, especially considering that said Jewish ethno-state is currently conducting a fucking child holocaust. I don't think that's appropriate. As long as there are people who actually push back on these fucking ridiculous claims, you know, after 19 months of unlimited child murder, for the record, I suspect that all of those people will look quite fucking silly in the rear view mirror. Anyway, the debate did go very well for Zohran. Adrienne Adams is the first at the New York City debate to say she would travel to Israel as her first foreign trip as mayor. I would visit the Holy Land. Jacob, you are fucking so weird, man. You are so goddamn weird. I can't believe this man was a whistleblower who almost got assassinated by the Orthodox community during COVID for whistleblowing on the Orthodox community's fucking practices of violating COVID restriction protocols. He literally almost got assassinated. It's crazy. That's when I started following him. And he has been so insane about this Israel shit, dude. Jesus Christ. Yeah, New York City voters do not give a fuck about Israel, okay? And the people that do give a fuck about Israel are not voting in the New York City Democratic primaries, okay? There are communities that do give a fuck about Israel. They're Republicans, okay? Go to the fucking Republican primary if you want to talk about how much, Tel Aviv matters, okay? It's bullshit. New York City has an incredibly big Jewish population. Yeah, I know it does, dumbass. And I'm saying those New York City Jews are New York City Jews. The ones that care about Israel, specifically some Orthodox communities, are already voting MAGA Republican every fucking step of the way. Bro, you have no clue about this one? Dude, I do. You don't. Okay? For Jews, Israel is not the highest fucking priority when voting for a goddamn mayor. This is a perfectly made up media fucking narrative. There are plenty of polls. Here, another question from the New York City mayor's race polls that's interesting. How important to you is that the next mayor of New York City has a pro-Israel stance? For all voters, very somewhat important, 32%. Very somewhat unimportant, 45.9%. And for the Democratic primary voters, very somewhat unimportant is 50.9%. A net 20%. You have deluded yourselves, and the anecdotes that you have seen from members in your immediate vicinity have caused you into believing that the number one priority for American Jews is Israel. If it was, they would be living in fucking Israel. They wouldn't be living in New York. What the fuck? It's not like there are major hurdles for an American Jew in Brooklyn to live in fucking Israel. There are none. Israel wants them to live in Israel. They are choosing to stay in America. If it was the scariest place on the planet for Jews, they would go to fucking Tel Aviv. Shut the fuck up. I hate hearing this from dumb fucks that are all up the asshole of the ADL and all of these other fucking Zionist advocacy groups. But I especially hate it because I feel like when I hear from a leftist community, it is woke anti-Semitism. Okay? Jesus Christ. It's like the woke version. You're doing the same shit that they're doing. What is this? Stop conceding to the fucking idiotic Zionist framing that all Jews only care about Israel is their top priority. It's that simple, okay? It's that simple. If an American Jew was truly terrified of living in the United States of America because of the heinous anti-Semitic attacks, they wouldn't live in America. They would live in fucking Israel. If Israel truly was the safest place on the planet for Jews, they would just go and live in Israel. Why don't they? Because they're American, okay? Because they're not Israeli. They're American. It's that simple. What the fuck? This isn't to say that there aren't Jews and non-Jews that love Israel and care about it and place it at a high order of priority. I'm not saying that at all. Those people oftentimes vote Republican, though. Okay? This was the Andrew Cuomo show. Oh, my God. We asked Dem Insiders how it's going. They're trying to fucking frame it as favorably to Andrew Cuomo as possible to basically not believe your lying eyes. Andrew Cuomo got ass fucked. Sounds more like your typical Jewish exceptionalism. You don't think that they can think that they want to stay in the U.S. but still have problems with still people saying bad things? Sounds like your typical Jewish exceptionalism that Bad Empanada was calling out. Dude, Bad Empanada and I agree on this fucking point already. What the fuck are you talking about? We already hashed it out. We already had a conversation about this. You're running on notes from, I guess, 3 months ago before he actually fucking had a back and forth with me on this issue. Drama perverts. No, we didn't debate. We just hashed out our disagreements that were born out of not knowing my full spectrum of opinion. In any case, saying that, number one, first of all, I don't give a fuck if 100% of American Jews cared about Israel. That wouldn't change my perspective even a little bit, okay? Who gives a shit? That's number one. Like, Jews are not like a magical, mystical group of people that as long as they believe something, I have to also abide by this principle, abide by their standards. Like, ridiculous, okay? And number two, many Americans, American Jews, okay, that are a part of the American dynamic have a multitude of different issues that they care about, regardless of how much Zionist social conditioning that they've been brain broken with, okay? Because let's say you're an American Jew who is, I don't know, 40 fucking years old. You're still paying off your student loan debts, okay? And a guy is out there being like, I want to eliminate your student loan debts. But that guy also says Israel's doing a genocide. Okay? Do you think that 40-year-old American Jew is going to be like, well, this guy says Israel's doing a genocide, but he wants to actually fucking eliminate my student loan debts? Something is going to be a higher order of priority. If you automatically assume that every Jew is going to be like, whoa, he criticized Israel, he's saying mean things about Israel, obviously I can't vote for him, you're a fucking psycho. Okay? It's the same fucking calculation that black people make when they're voting for racist white people. Okay? I also hate this fucking question. Like, it's so stupid. Who gives a fuck? I can't believe we're having a conversation about a foreign state. Like, are they allowed to be a foreign ethno-state? Does Israel have a right to exist as a fucking Jewish ethno-state? Is so psychotic to me. It's like, bro, it's like asking about Estonia's fucking internet policies. Like, why do you hate that Estonia has widespread broadband? Like, I don't understand. Like, as though this factors into your fucking equation at all. Like, how delusional, how insane. What do you think about Viktor Orban's policies of building new stadiums with Chinese funds? I don't know. I don't care. I'm running for mayor of fucking New York City. I'm not trying to run as the commissioner of stadiums in fucking Budapest. What do you mean? I want to lower the fucking price of rent. What the fuck are you asking me if the modern Nazi state has a right to fucking continue doing baby murder? What the fuck? The very fact that they're asking him about Israel, will you visit Israel? Does Israel have a right to exist as a Jewish ethno-state? Like, all these questions are fucking so psychotic. And if you think New Yorkers, when they hear that question, go, oh, well, I don't know. Oh, my God. I think more New Yorkers are going to look at that question and be like, why the fuck is this question even being asked? It's all made up media bullshit. The idea that this is like a significant question that will be incredibly important for this fucking election. And if he were to turn around and be like, yeah, Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish ethnic state, which would be psychotic for him to fucking say, then they would move on. They'd be like, why do you say Israel did a genocide then? Because it's not. It's about wearing your opposition down. Do you understand? That's why I loved the France Unbowed candidate when they were asking him about how, like, Mélenchon did an interview with me. And on French national television, they were like, oh, you did the interview with le anti-Semitic, Islamo-gauchiste, Hasan Piquel. And the guy was like, you guys call everyone that talks shit about Israel anti-Semitic. Israel's killing children. I want to talk about that, okay? Let's talk about that. And he shut that shit down. That's it. That's it. That's how you're supposed to deal with this. And be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Oh, yeah, okay. Everyone is anti-Semitic because they just find it to be unconscionable. How does he pray with all those pictures? What the fuck? Yeah, Manuel Bompard, Le France Insoumise, second in command. He was asked. This was the second time on French TV mentioning Hasan's interview with Mélenchon, trying to paint Hasan as anti-Semitic and Mélenchon by proxy. Okay? They said, Mélenchon appeared on a Turkish-American social media influencer show who believes that rapes committed by Hamas, like 7 don't matter, and calls Israel's inbred assholes POS. Isn't that a complicated relationship? Like problematic? No. Just stop. Because anytime someone speaks out against what's happening in Gaza, people dig up quotes that they sometimes never even actually said. So please, I think my positions are clear enough. They are respect of international law, prosecution of all war crimes. I completely support the arrest warrants of the ICC against Netanyahu, members of the Israeli government, and leaders of Hamas. And I'd like to ask the other political leaders in the country what they think about those warrants, because I've heard people on the right and the far right saying we shouldn't apply those arrest warrants to the ICC. I saw Netanyahu's plane fly over the country a few weeks ago, apparently with the president's authorization, which is a violation of the ICC's warrant, while nobody spoke out. And the ICC was ratified in France under Jacques Chirac's presidency, who wasn't exactly a leftist. Move on to issues that actually matter. Don't give any fucking air to like these idiotic, hyper-specific, bias-framed questions. You're not a Muslim if you don't pray like that? Man, shut the fuck up. Suck my dick. Ay, ay, ay. We do too much. We do too much of this, like... We do too much of this silly-ass, like, well, if someone asks me a question, even if it's like a very clearly fucking biased question... I have to take it seriously. I have to answer the question sincerely. No, just sometimes it's okay to fucking turn around and be like, why are you asking me this question? Do you think this is what's most important for New Yorkers? Do you think that's all they care about? Is whether or not Israel has a right to be a Jewish ethno-state in direct violation of international human rights? It's so fucking stupid. After he was the only candidate to say he would prioritize serving New Yorkers over traveling abroad, they had the gall to demand that he alone answer questions about Israel's sick stuff. Because the reality of the matter is, yeah, what's funny is the one candidate who has a citizenship question is the one who gave the patriotic answer. When asked which foreign country they would visit first as mayor, only Mamdani says he'll stay in New York and serve New York tree. That's kind of rich coming from you, man. I get that it's kind of how the stream works, but you entertain bad face shit all the time, but you don't have a 30-second time limit. I'm not a fucking media-trained politician running for a political campaign. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just saying that at this stage, Zohran knows he's going to get those fucking questions. And I still love Zohran. I want him to win. I am 100% full-blown, unconditionally pro-Zohran. Everyone else can suck my cock. Okay? I'm stating I'm more angry at the fucking framing of the question. I'm not angry even at Zohran. I'm even saying that the reason why he's answering that way is because he's fucking scared, because he's Muslim. And we are an incredibly Islamophobic nation. Okay? There are a million different ways that he could respond to that, by the way. I don't even think his response is all that bad. I just think that there are better responses in that situation. And the better responses can be more contentious. I think people should be people shouldn't be as afraid to stand 10 toes down with their moral clarity on this situation, because a lot more Americans agree with them than they think. Maybe not in the media, but a lot more Americans agree with them. The other side of the story always is like, what do you think this does to the average American that hears this? Where we have to symbolically genuflect to Israel and its existence as a Jewish ethno-state. What do you think that does to the average American that hears this over and over and over again? Average Americans that are experiencing fucking affordability crises. Average Americans that feel like they can't get a good job. They don't have any fucking free time. And then all the media ever talks about and all the fucking politicians ever have to do is basically be like, yes, I would love to suck Benjamin Netanyahu's cock. I would literally fucking suck him dry. Oh my God. And if I don't do that, then it's like, I hate Jews. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for hating Jews. What do you think that does to the average American? When they hear that, they go, what the fuck is this? At that point, even if you weren't fucking anti-Semitic, you're going to be like, okay, I guess Jews do run the fucking media. What is going on? You know what I mean? It's fucking psychotic. They're like bludgeoning the heads of every goddamn American to be like, no, Jews do actually run the government and Jews do actually run the media. You aren't wrong. You thought that there were conspiracies. They're not conspiracies. Look, I'm saying it right now is like what they're trying to do, it seems like. What the fuck? Anyway, the best part about his answer at the end of that was that he said Israel has a right to exist as a state with equal rights for everyone. Okay? And that framing is perfect because who the fuck is going to say no to that? He's framing it within the confines of liberalism, and he's doing a great job with that, because then the people that have to fucking yell about that, have to be like, no, actually, right to equal rights under Israeli rulership. No, I'm like, okay. We need more canvassers, so if you can help promote the link and get people signed up. Yeah, Zohran for NewYorkCity.com/volunteer/events. Go canvas for Zohran. I'm literally a New Yorker and nobody's talking about one, climate change as our city loses power more often during the summer due to heat. Two, congestion pricing, which Trump is trying to fuck us on. Yeah. Anyway, I think Zohran's performance was fine. We're hanging on too much on the last fucking part of this conversation. And I also do think that like people trying to make a bigger deal out of this, like being like, no, you don't understand. Israel has a right to be an ethno state. How dare you? You must be anti-Semitic if you don't think that like Israel has a right to exist like a fucking neo-Nazi ethno state. Well, yeah, I don't think that's the most valuable, most reliable fucking framework to operate off of to win any election whatsoever. If that was the fucking case, AIPAC wouldn't constantly attack people on every issue outside of Israel. AIPAC spends tens of millions of dollars in primaries. Why do they never talk about how bad a candidate is on the issue of Israel, I wonder? If Israel is such a fucking popular point of contention and that Israel is everyone's darling and that everyone wants to defend Israel, why the fuck is the largest Israel lobby never talking fucking attack ads? I wonder why. Perhaps because everybody fucking hates Israel, okay? People have a very unfavorable opinion of Israel, especially right now, more than ever before. So if AIPAC understands that Israel ain't shit in the eyes and the minds and hearts of average Americans, why the fuck are you guys acting like this is a dangerous landmine to step on? Israel is a fucking international pariah. Every goddamn day there's new polls that come out that's like, people fucking want an end to Israel. People cannot stand Israel. And these motherfuckers in here in this chat are still going, oh, well, I think you have to really love Israel, otherwise you can't win anything. Kufi is actually the largest Israel lobby. True. Sorry. AIPAC is the second largest Israel lobby. Let me see what Will's up to. Let me DM Will. Let me DM Willard. Let's see if we can rip a night rain real quick. I don't have that much time, unfortunately. I can do one.